Okay, y'all, so here's the other part to what I was talking about. So I ended up forgive me for looking, I know I'm looking at the camera angle wrong, but it's just a thing you got to get used to. I know y'all understand that. But so I ended up having the conversation with my doctor about everything with the how it went down with the nurse or whatever this morning. And so then we had a discussion or whatnot, and then pretty much I was telling her how I felt about everything, and that the majority of stuff that had brought me to the point of where I was so pissed this morning was more so a culmination of things that had been taking place over the course of the cycle, because I had pretty much told her that a lot of the cycle had been like a shit show. Like, it was a bunch of shenanigans. Like, it was one thing after another. I mean, this is separate from just the insurance issue that I talked to y'all about in a separate video. This is completely separate from that. Even just with, getting started with a cycle and getting now my financial clearance to get started. And with that first nurse, actually it was a second nurse that came out into the lobby or whatever, trying to say, oh, we got to get this and that done, yada, yada. And I'm like, clearly she's not up to speed because she didn't bother to check my records or whatever the case was. I don't know. I can't speak for why she didn't do things a certain way. But anywho, I was telling the doctor that I'm pissed because of how things have been just kind of transpiring over the last few weeks, and then the icing on the cake, was this morning, like the nurse's ultimate response, to give me the medicine was like, well, I can call you a prescription. You can go pick it up yourself. Like with that kind of sass and attitude. And I'm like, what? Oh, okay. Or whatever, after I said to her, I'm like, dang, I'm like, this clinic don't give you nothing for free. Even though y'all, let me emphasize, I'm not saying at all like I feel like I was entitled or anything like that to them to have to give me some medicine for free or anything like that. But I know that y'all are going to get, like my principle behind, bringing it up. And I'm like, it's a 300 unit vial of medicine. The ones I have at home are 900 IU cartridges. It's not like I'm getting ready to come up off of y'all with one dose of medicine and, I'm going to use it just once that night. I mean, yeah, I get y'all can't bill people for medicine or whatever, but she wanted to come off like, oh, well, the only reason we're able to donate and help people out, is because, blah, 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 we do this exchange, kind of like, I forgot the word she used, something similar of like paying it forward. But I'm like, you're not paying it forward if you have to pay it back. Do y'all feel me? You feel me, right? You can't pay something forward if I have to give it back to you. No, and it was just, I don't think she was getting that side of it. This clinic charges y'all 13, 14 grand for one cycle. That's not including your medicine. And that is not including the genetic testing. That's crazy. Anyway, even though I know some places are higher than that, but I think bringing up all of that, with the doc, and I was telling her, I'm like, look, because the doc was saying she was pretty much to me saying like, people at the clinic pretty much were talking about me or whatever because, they didn't like, me saying certain things or whatever, yada, yada, or whatnot, whatever. And that I think she said something like, I think some of the frustration with, the nursing staff is because of how something she said went down. I don't know why I'm blanking on some parts of the conversation, y'all. But pretty much, I was telling the doctor, I'm like, look, if I need to have a conversation with this nurse, myself, because her and I are both adults. The conversation or the incident took place between the two of us. That's separate from you. You had nothing to do with it. You weren't even present when it happened. So that's a conversation I need to have with her. So that's why I emailed the nurse this afternoon and, told her to try to give me a call by the end of her workday so I could speak to her. In addition, also about the appointment. Because once I finished talking to the doctor and told her all my frustrations, and she was trying to assure me like, we're giving you individualized care, yada yada, and all your cycle, and that with the whole thing about the whole canceling thing, the doctor went on pretty much to say, it's kind of like, and she brushed it over too. Y'all, I don't know if I can put this in the right words, because I work I work in the medical field and I know how these things transpire, I could feel in the phone how she was kind of like glazing over how you have two separate physicians. Pretty much they're on the verge, they're urging me like, hey, you need to cancel this cycle, whatever, like you're not getting good enough results. But then here my now current doctor overseeing my cycle is on the phone saying, oh, well, when we have rounds and meetings just like that, I expressed to them that, I don't feel like that at all. I feel like, we're doing okay with the way things are going. Your estrogen's rising and all that. And I thought they got pretty accurate measurements when they did your ultrasound this morning. And that she felt like the one that they did on Sunday wasn't as accurate, To me, that's like a kind of shady way of saying that whichever one of your colleagues did that ultrasound on Sunday didn't measure right, but then turned around and followed it up with saying, because it was a really difficult ultrasound, yada yada, this, that, and the third, all of that. And I'm thinking like, okay, well, this is like the third ultrasound I think that I've had during the cycle, and they've said each time that sometimes it's kind of difficult to visualize my ovaries, and they might have to press on my belly a little bit or something like that to get good pictures of the follicles. But I'm like, if y'all are having rounds and discussing, having these table discussions about people's cycles and such, why have you not made it a point yourself, since you're my physician, to make sure that you schedule me by the second time someone said that, I'm a difficult person to ultrasound because of the way my ovaries lay or whatever the case is? Why don't you make it a point yourself? Like, you know what? I want to schedule her on a day when I'm actually doing ultrasound so I can see what's going on myself, since I'm the one overseeing the cycle. Anywho, through our conversation, then we got to that point, talking about that. And she eventually said, what I want to do is, I want to scan you myself, or whatever from this point forward. And we're going to go ahead and, continue to stem, and all that. And she says, I'm going to see you tomorrow, which is Tuesday. Well, again, like I told y'all, then I emailed the nurse myself and told her, to give me a call. I wanted to have a discussion with her. In addition, see what time the doctor wanted to see me tomorrow or whatever, because she did mention that in the conversation. Well, the nurse emailed me back or whatever and was pretty much saying she was on the phone with the doctor at the time, having a conversation or whatever, and that she'd called me within 30 minutes and said, she said in the email, the doctor says, I'm talking with her. She said that she wants to see you on Wednesday or whatever for ultrasound and blood work, yada, yada. And I'm like, okay, how did that change all fast? Y'all see what I'm saying? Like, the doctor in the matter of, I'm talking y'all, not even 4 minutes went by in between when I got off the phone with the doctor and then, I sent the email to the nurse, and then she responded back to me. Like, seriously, not even 5 minutes. And now all of a sudden the doctor's changed her own mind about when she wants to see me again for an ultrasound. So y'all can see how I can get so easily frustrated with this clinic, and how it just seems, like I said, how it's called, it's just a hot ass mess, and so again, not that I have any issue with waiting until Wednesday, whatever. But the doctor says she feels like the few follicles that I have, she wants to wait to see if a couple of those smaller ones will pick up any, or get any more mature, to see if we can get a couple more on board, yada yada. Okay, I'm fine with that. Well, again, like I said, I actually talked to the nurse, and when she did call me, and we discussed those things about my appointment and all that, and I told her about my medicine, and I told her, I said, well, I don't remember if you recall, this is another part of me, how it frustrates me is being the fact that I work in the medical field, how I don't feel like I'm being heard and really listened to sometimes, is because I'd already told my nurse, and I know I've told y'all that I already had a batch of medicine from way before I even started getting seen at this clinic, and they even called me in another batch of medicine or whatnot. So then when she went to saying how she was trying to like call in like a, like an additional prescription or whatever for more medicine, to hold me over until whenever, I told her on the phone, I don't think you remember me telling you that I already had a batch of medicine or whatever, yada yada. So I've already called the pharmacy probably before you did and told them I needed to set it up so that I can get my medication delivered tomorrow. And so I was like, I'm already ahead of you on that. I'm good, or whatever. And so we got further into the discussion, and I was telling her, that again, that in itself, that instance speak to, I'm not trying to like freeload or anything like that off the clinic or anything like that. that's obviously why I left that medicine there at the clinic. I'm like, whatever, you know, I'm gonna get what I need. It's okay, fine, or whatever. I just don't like the damn sass that came with me obviously venting frustration, and how you think it's, oh, like, that's extra petty and, like, you know, sedity of me to think that, you know, a clinic could spare one vial of medication for somebody, which honestly I think they can, because again, y'all, I mentioned the math. When you do the math out, again, I know that there's a little bit extra inside those cartridges, but when you do the math out for 10 days of stimming, no, I didn't have enough to even stim for 10 days. And the nurse had mentioned that also in the email when she first responded back to me, was like, oh, I ordered you 10 days, you know, of medicines or whatever, yada yada, so you should have enough for tonight. No, boo, I don't. I mean, because for lack of a better word, me tossing all them extra cartridges, I'm not going to go dig them all back out just to draw up, you know, another dose of medication. If you truly did the math, you know, you'd be like, oh, that's putting that person right on. They're going to be short. They're not even going to have a whole 10 days worth of stimming medicine for that one particular medication, you know. But anywho, so again, that speaks to how I've mentioned on my Instagram account, if y'all are currently looking at that right now, how I talk about how, again, this plays into how I mentioned to the doctor too, how I don't feel like people are taking accountability on their end, like people at the clinic, from when I point shit out to them, like, you know what I mean, like, look, this is what happened, this is what this person said, and this is why I felt this way I felt about that, or whatever. And then you're skating around it, you know what I mean, kind of trying to, you know, dumb it down, you know what I mean, and you're thinking you're finding a way to pacify me, but you're not. What you're really doing is pissing me off more by trying to brush it off like, well, oh, that's nothing, like, you know what I mean, like I'm overreacting about it, or whatever the case is. I'll give y'all another good example. While the nurse and I were talking, and I was mentioning to her how things had progressed through my cycle, in addition to little, you know, errors and stuff. People would type something completely wrong in an email, and that would just get on my nerves because it would frustrate me, even though I know better, that like, oh, that's just an error that they made. I'll give you the perfect example I gave the nurse. In one of our emails, after I had my progesterone drawn, she goes and says, oh yeah, so your Lupron is 7.5, blah blah blah, something like that, and your progesterone came back, yada yada, so you're clear to go ahead and start, you know, your Lupron tonight and all that, yada yada. Y'all, no, my Lupron dose is supposed to be 10 milligrams, not 7.5. My progesterone level was 7.5 on my labs, right? So I pointed this out to her, and then I gave her another example, how I said on Sunday, that particular nurse that had emailed me back my blood level results says, yeah, all your meds gonna stay same tonight. You're gonna do 325 of Gonal F, even though I'm using Follistim, whatever, the same thing. The point is, y'all, I'm not doing 325, I'm doing 375. But with those two perfect examples of how I gave the nurse of errors of how people mistype things, you know, and don't notice it, even though it irritates me, because somebody that doesn't know any better when it comes to IVF cycles would have done just exactly what the emails, the communication said. Oh, well, they said to do this, so that's what I'm going to do. Y'all know what this heifer said? She says, oh, well, if you had done 7.5 or done 10 milligrams, it wouldn't have made any difference. It would have been the same thing. Didn't even bother to apologize. She didn't even try to acknowledge that, heifer, you was wrong. You are wrong. I have come across other professionals like this. I probably have a couple colleagues myself that are like this. But how can you respond like that to a patient? That's like, you know, me telling you, oh, the doctor said to give you 10 milligrams of whatever this cardiac medication was, and I give you 20 of it, and I try to blow it off like, whatever, you got double the dose or whatever, but hey, it's whatevs. Like, that is not okay. Medication errors are not okay. I don't care whether or not you said it would impact in my cycle. The sheer fact that I'm a poor responder, I feel like makes it that much worse. And the fact that you're brushing it off like it doesn't mean a damn thing really, really frustrates me. And I feel like that really paints a picture to me overall about this clinic. You know, y'all get where I'm coming from on that? Like, and I was telling her, if this had been somebody else, like for instance, somebody else I follow on Instagram had a little like weird conversion that she was given wrong for one of her medications. I want to say it was like Omnitrope or something like that. And her nurse gave her one conversion, and then come to find out that conversion's not even right. So she didn't even give her the right dosage she was supposed to be taking. And, you know, and it, like I said, that added to my frustration that here I am, I'm telling you, you know what I mean? It's not, she wasn't coming off sassy when she asked, you know, about, oh, what do you mean in particular? Can you give specific examples? Yes, Heffa, I can. So then I gave her those 2 specific examples of where people unintentionally, I know, not intentionally, unintentionally typed the wrong thing and typed out wrong different dosages about medications I'm supposed to take, herself included, and you still can't even chalk that up. You can't even do that. You're steady trying to flick the egg away from your face. Oh, you know, that doesn't matter. It wouldn't matter if you took 10 or 7.5 or not. So then why the hell does the doctor order 10 if 7.5 is fine? Why waste that extra little bit of medicine? That extra little bit of medicine can take you just a little bit further and a little bit further, you know? And then too, overall with my cycle, I still feel like also the doctor had the same type of perception, to where I'm telling her that, you know, we even had tentatively planned with my protocol that we were going to stem for 10 days. And I'm like, I don't know how about that's going to work out, because I know I stemmed at least 12 days for my first cycle just to get me to right there to where my ovaries are really ready, you know. And then here, the physician I saw on Sunday, when I mentioned that to her, like I told y'all before, she was like, oh, well, no, we're not going to go that long. Then all of a sudden, here it is, I'm talking to my actual doctor here today, and you're like, oh, yeah, we are going to go that long. Obviously, y'all, because I just told you she wants to see me on Wednesday to see whether or not things are looking more like more of them will be in a position to go ahead and take trigger or whatever. Do y'all feel what I'm saying? Like, I honestly, you know, I feel like I'm a person, like, I can take criticism. So if y'all feel like I'm being crazy about some of this, or feel like it's really not that significant, you know, by all means, you know, tell me, you know, let me know, or tell me your experience about it, or your thinking of it. But I'm giving it to y'all just how it's rolling out and just how it's happening. And like I said, to me, you know, again, I'm a poor responder as it is. You know, you got to give me almost a maximum amount you can give somebody humanly possible of medicine to get my itty bitty follicles and the few follicles that I have to grow. And then your response to also that is, oh, it wouldn't have mattered either if you took 325 or 375. Well, why did my protocol not say 325 then? If 325 and 375 would work just the same, is that not wasting that expensive Follistim medicine? That's, you know, roughly what, 50 units difference, you know, a night. Think about it, 50 units a night for 10 nights. That's 500 units, right? If I really didn't need an extra 500 units, why am I wasting it like water? I could take that, if I could end up ultimately having that amount of medicine left over from a cycle, I can take that medicine and help another woman who doesn't have insurance coverage and they're paying out of pocket for their cycles. That medicine could get her another day. And who's to say the next woman at my clinic could be reduce hers by the same amount, and that could help another person another day. And that could completely resolve your whole rule about, oh, well, we're going to loan you this medicine and then you give it back to us. Granted, y'all, I'm not saying like it's not a good thing that they loan people medicines or float them to get them to where they need to be to trigger. That's not what I'm saying at all. My point is that I feel like, especially these clinics are getting a huge amount of money sometimes in cycles. I'm not saying all the time, because we all know that with insurance there's different contracted rates where they get a lesser amount for different procedures that they do, so they don't make as much. But I'm saying with the amount of money that y'all are getting out of people, I don't feel like you're killing anybody or you would be hurting anything giving somebody one night of medicine. They might say, oh, let me float you, paying it forward and get you to the next day to whenever you can go and actually purchase and get your extra amount of medicine. Which again, even though I felt from the beginning like 10 days is not going to do it, it's just not. You know, I think if we were to really have the medicine to do it, I probably would have went another day or two. And I know some of you guys, and I've seen quite a few people on Instagram as well, women who've stemmed longer than 13 days because their bodies needed it to get them to trigger, you know? So it's like, You know, overall, y'all, I feel like, you know what I mean, they're trying to, you know, minimize in a way my concerns. Like they're trying to acknowledge it, but at the same time, it's like, you know, as I had the conversation with the nurse, you know, it's like, you know, people at that clinic have like labeled me now as like a difficult patient. No, y'all just see that I don't take no shit and see that the stupid stuff that y'all do, and I hold you accountable for it. I don't see why that would be different than any other patient. Now, y'all, I can go on a wholly different tangent and say it could have something to do with the color of my skin, because I think I've seen, since every appointment that I've had with them since December, I've seen, I think, one other brown, tanned, of any sort person in that clinic. I'm not saying these people are racist or anything by any means, but what's the difference? You're not going to tell me that I'm the only patient that vocalizes about frustration or tells y'all when y'all wrong. And you know what I mean? Now people got a problem with it because I say something about it. You know what I mean? Like, that doesn't make sense to me, you know? But of course, I'll make that known. And I told the nurse too. I said, if they want to look at me like a pain in the ass or a difficult patient, honey, by all means do that. With the things that I've been through and the road we've gone down to get to this 4th clinic, to get this cycle done, by all means, let them think that way of me. But my hard-earned dollars, well, my and my husband's hard-earned dollars are not their money. Because I bet you your bottom dollar, if it was their money, they would be flapping their gums till the cows came home about saying X, Y, and Z, etc., isn't right and you need to fix it. I don't find it anything different. I've not went off on anybody, you know, at the clinic. I've sat there highly upset before, just sitting there, not saying anything. I was ticked this morning. Me and the doctor had the conversation in the room, but other than that, outside of the room, I didn't say anything. So that's how I know it's other, not that I don't understand it, but I know it's other, the employees there, they're sitting around, you know, with each other, probably gossiping about me. Not that I care. I'd rather you know that and know that I mean damn business when I walk in them doors. You need to cross your T's and dot your I's and have your stuff together, because that's the way it should be. I'm holding you, you know what I mean, to that level. That's the way you need to do it for all patients. You shouldn't let any of those women or men, for that fact, you shouldn't let any of them slip through the cracks when it comes to doing any of their cycles there, because we're all coming out to do the same thing, create a human life. And you can't tell me anybody in this world that wouldn't be, you know, sensitive about that, especially when it came to their hard-earned money. So that's just y'all of what went on. I know this is a little bit of a long video, but for those of you who make it to the end, thank you so much for watching. And again, comment below and just tell me whether or not I'm crazy. Do y'all think that I'm crazy? Do you think that I'm being a difficult patient, or I shouldn't have said certain things about, you know, things that I didn't like or whatever? Just let me know in the comments below. Again, thank you guys for watching, and just stay tuned and see what happens next.